Hello, Kayleen here, and in this video I'm going to take you out on a paint out on a Plein air trip up into the beautiful Dandenongs. So I'm in Victoria, that's where the Dandenongs are. We're heading up to Kalorama Park, and with a group of painters I get together with on a once a week, and we do our own thing for the morning, gather together to paint and then have lunch together, so which is lovely. But the Dandenongs right now, we've headed into winter, so we have autumn colour fading fast. So I'm really hoping that the spot I've already scoped out a couple of weeks ago is still fine, because we went to this spot where I painted in a particular spot, but the car park was amazing, and the colour was amazing. So I'm hoping to be able to grab a place there this morning and head up there a little bit earlier, so I've got the morning light a bit longer, and hoping that colour's still there, because there's this gorgeous old shed, and with all the autumn trees around it all dropping and apart, it's just very romantic little view there. There's also a beautiful large tree there that I had my eye on as well. So I took a couple of photos before I painted when I was there last, and with the intention of going back ASAP. So I mentioned it to the group and we all agreed to go back there today, and so that's where I'm headed. I'm excited. I'm going to go a little bit larger than I do, and work in pastel. So I'm going to take you through my morning and film as much as I can. Ask the girls if I can film them, if they'll allow me a little bit, so that you can kind of see what they're doing, and and show you my new kit and everything. So, and yeah, just step you through the whole process, because until you've done it, or even when you are plein air painting, sometimes you pick up tips from other plein air painters of things that make your pack, you can pack lighter or more convenient for the day. So the more comfortable, the better, I say. So I'm just about to, I will lead you into this now and step you through, and then we will chuff off and get some painting done. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Kayleen West. I live in Victoria, Australia. Always experimenting and working in many mediums. Sit back, enjoy the video. And of course, please like, subscribe and share if you will. Much appreciated. So I'm putting together, this is what I do for my lunch. This is my standby, because I'm on a particular healthy eating plan that I don't have flour or sugar, so, and I also have weighed amounts of vegetable and protein and fats and all the rest of it. So it's called Bright Line Eating, but not to promote it, just to show you that I've got to pack a healthy lunch. So when we go out, I've got to make wise choices when we eat out, and in a cafe or whatever, but often I can take my lunch if I do this. So I grab a can of this, because in it is only pretty much vegetables and stock. There's no flour. There's a tiny bit of sugar in it, but it's way down the list, which is allowable. And the thickener is guar gum, which is fine. So yeah, double checking that. Yeah, so that's passable for what I can eat, and it's quite good. It's really nice. Tin soup isn't always nice, and that's really nice. It's like a homemade soup taste. So I put that in a saucepan, and then I've got to add enough protein for me. So I have 4 ounces of protein, and I usually have chicken or something cooked in the fridge. But today I don't. So I've grabbed out of my cupboard some canned chicken that I've made. Now don't freak out. Pressure canned is a safe way of cooking these things and preserving them. So this is known as ugly chicken because of the look of it, but it tastes amazing. It's so tender. So I'll break that open, add enough chicken into there, heat it up in the saucepan and not the microwave, in the saucepan, because it keeps the thermal heat in better, I believe. And I put it in a wide mouth flask, and that stays hot. So I have a lovely hot soup for while I'm paint out, which is quite a luxury little thing to have while you're, out and about. And I just take a spoon and open up the top and into it. And that's my fruit portion. Okay, so I'm doing pastel today, and this is a new setup. So I've got a new pastel box that I have just set up with a tripod, which I had this tripod, and I very successfully managed to find the top bit for it and the bottom, which I'll go into later. Because it needs to be a certain strength, and that is actually the easel part. I've just got my board and paper ready. Now I've decided I want to get up there a bit earlier today. I want to work larger. I usually work around 9 by 12 inch or smaller, and I want to go much larger. I've worked full sheet pastel outside before, and I know that it takes me longer than a couple of hours, and that's pretty much the time we have. We have about 2 hours before everyone wants to go for lunch, and we don't necessarily always return to that spot, and of course the afternoon light is always different, so you want to get as much time in while you've got a similar light as you can. So I've decided though, I've already scoped out this area, and I took photos last time. So what I've got, and this is actually I think the first time I've done this, but I've decided this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a reference that I took, because I know that I framed it with my camera what I wanted to paint. So because it's already framed, I'm going to do the sketch, the sketch, so that I've got the placement. So I'll put in the placement before I go, and I could do it on site, but I'll put it before I go, and I will continue on when I get there straight into the painting, and it just gives me just a bit of a head start. I always have to work so quickly, plein air, as you do. But I do want to do a bigger painting. And also I'm going to measure up before I go. I've got new frames here that need paintings in them, and they're odd sizes. So I'm going to measure up so that I'm going to paint to that size, and I already know the format I want, and so I'll do that. Okay, so the frame I want to use, I'm going to take this out of it because I don't want that slip in it, and then I'll end up with matte and glass. But as it turns out, it almost fits a 16 by 20 inch, and that's quite a bit smaller than that, so I'm not going to use the paper. In fact, I have prepared boards that I've got a pastel ground on, so I've got a sanded surface on these boards at 16 by 20, so I'm going to take that instead. Nice and easy. Now I'll have to be mindful too that size is slightly bigger, just to make sure I don't put too close to the edges. So I'll have to be mindful of that when I paint. But also from experience, I know that not every painting day goes well. So you want to take options with you, so that if things aren't going well, or you decide, I really would prefer to be doing that, and you don't want to miss out, you've got extra supplies. So I'm going to take a smaller sandpaper, just a little pack of sandpaper on a backing board, just in case. So it doesn't hurt to have that in the car. And or sometimes I've got my gouache outfit in there, particularly if I'm working in oil. I take my gouache outfit, and that way they actually use the same easel and tripod, so it's nice and easy to swap over. But with the pastels, I'm just going to take extra pastel sheets. Okay, so I was recording a lovely video for you and last night, and I've got pastels here from that painting. Now, these are out of my studio kit, so it's not going to make any difference. So, but often I'll just show you this now. When I'm working on a painting, I don't put the pastels back in the box until I've finished with the painting. And if I happen to do 1, 2, 3 other paintings, so be it. It kind of motivates me to finish the work. Otherwise, I don't get my pastels back. And it pushes me to use other colours instead of using the same old colours all the time. So when they're out, they're only available for that painting pretty much. Otherwise, it's a bit hard to go back and be picking through hundreds of different colours to find those colours. I did manage to find them fairly quickly, most of them, because I had done that and cleaned my pastels. But anyhow, moving right along, I've taken that out of here. This belongs to my plein air kit. It's a little tray that hooks onto the side of my pastel box. So I've just given that a clean so I can take that. So I can't forget to take that, otherwise I'll be trying to balance them in my hands. So up on the easel we've got our board, and let's get the drawing done. Just because it's cold and frosty, I'm just choosing to do this in my studio than them out on site. Now what I'm using here is just a paper stub for with charcoal or pastel on it, and then deciding on, I think from memory, I really wanted the trees to be and the sky to be most of the, so I'm going to make sure that building comes down low. And using this cleans it off, cleans it off a bit. So it's, because it's basically the paper's getting sanded while I sketch in with it. So I'm just looking at directional lines, interest. I've got a path here, and it's lovely and steep. I think I'm going to have a walkway come into here. There's a suggestion of one there. And that really moves around like that. There's a tree on the side here that comes into, now I'm remembering I've got less room than I think of at the end, top and bottom, but so I'll bring that tree in a bit closer to the shed, and we're almost there. Now I'll step back and I'm watching my trees. I've got one there, one there, one there that splinters off, and one there. So what I want to do is make the distances just a little less even. So this one, I think I'll leave that one there, but add more in here. More in here, and then bring something. I don't want anything in the corner, but kind of bring something in there. So this is where we're shifting around and borrowing elements. I'll see how that goes, and then as I get further into it, I'll check the trees, but I do not want evenly placed trees. You want a nice design pattern in your trees. Well, I do anyhow. So there we go. I think that's enough. Let's go. So I've just turned up and the sun is out. Look at that. What a morning. Look at that. That's the other tree I was talking about. That's the other temptation to paint. Put my car there and encourage everyone else to park down there so we've got our view. But we do still have autumn colour. Not as much as we had before. There was more of those golden colours that's in that big tree. That tree at the back of the shed has lost most of its colour, but you can still see it enough to use artistic license. And because I've already, like I said, because I've already scouted this area and made some painting decisions already, I know elements that I want to put in. And you can see you could just take on all sorts of formats for this subject. It's lovely. And just left of this shed, look at that. That's the a bit of the lookout. We're down below the lookout. You can see the Sylvan Dam there. But that itself is quite paintable. So I'll be taking photos. Even that, look at that. Oh, so much, so little time. Okay, as I'm itching to paint, I will step you through this really quickly, what I've brought with me. It does vary a little bit depending on where it is. Now I know that I'm just painting outside my boot basically today, so I just threw everything in. Usually I have a trolley with wheels that I put pack most things into there, and I don't bring my bag. You know, there's a couple of things I don't bring, but basically I have this bag with my pastel box in it. I've got a container to hold the pastels that I used today in case I don't finish it, or even if I think I've finished it, I just hold them for a day to make sure that I don't want to go back in and just do a few touch-ups. I've got a cap and a hat over there because even if it's not sunny, the glare on your face can interfere with your judgment of tone and colour. I've got a roll of paper towel. There's wet wipes in there that you need with pastels, isopropyl alcohol, and a brush for that, a rag, And what else we got? I did bring 3 pan pastels today of background colours that I thought I believe that I probably use, just to get that block in done quickly. So I've bought that. There's 3 colours. And what else have I got? Oh, the tray that you saw. Not sure if there's much else in there. So not a lot. So all my pastels are in here, and my tripod. Oh, do you know what? I forgot my easel top because I switched out for a board. I forgot my easel top. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. We're going to have to improvise today. Oh, you always forget something. I ran around the house everywhere looking for my battery pack. So concerned about my battery pack, I forgot the easel. Oh dear. Now, one thing that I always like to bring, and I hate leaving behind, is this smell stick, because I do find that better for balancing. Okay, it's only 10 minutes back to home to get it, but I'm just going to see if I can do something else. Let's see what we can do. Oh, the other thing was a chair, and I'm glad I bought that because I may need it. Now, this is what I did to improvise initially. I set up with a chair. I decided, after trying to attach the board to so many different things, including my friend's trolley, that I'd have to rest it on my knee, but it just wasn't going to work. There was dappled light and it wasn't going to work. So I'm not back in my studio collecting the easel, but I'm going to add this into the video because I had to change plans. So there was no way I was painting a pastel without an easel in that spot. I had dappled light that threw very dark shadows and lights across my canvas, or on my board, wherever I went. Which meant I had to kind of go in the full sun to paint that particular spot, something I didn't notice last time when I was scoping there. And so I do need an easel for a start, and I needed shade, a shade umbrella. So I had taken one with me, but it wasn't appropriate. There was no way of attaching it to what I had. So I'm going to have to return to that spot or work on the studio for that painting. So after wasting quite a bit of time trying to make something work, I tried attaching the board to somebody's trolley, and we tried everything, and it was just not going to be worth pursuing with all those elements. So see how I say, you take these spare things, take these extra things, because you never know what happens. So fortunately, I did take extra paper because I could have used that board, but I took extra paper. So I swapped tactics. I went down to another area, found a picnic table. It was in full sun, but I found a picnic table where I could literally wedge the board in between the wood on the top of the table, and the wood that went across held it in place. So it acted as an easel. And then my friend said, what about using my trolley? Because I'm going, there's too much sun on it. And my trolley might block it. So we popped the trolley up on the table, and it cast a shadow across my board, and hallelujah, I could work. So this vine wrap tree in the middle there is what I had my eyes on, but I wanted to grab a little bit of the background, pull in the mountains and a little bit of the foreground, and just the top of that bright yellow tree that's in front. So that's where I positioned myself. As the light started to move a little bit later, I had to move the board down to the second plank and move it away from me a bit further. But it worked. It actually worked really well. As an easel, it was quite stable, surprisingly. So it was probably more stable than my tripod in the wind. So I had a bit of wind today. So there we go. I'll let you sit back and watch the process. There's a lot of fast forward motion in this, but I also slow down and let you see some of the painting process in real time. places. I'm painting this one particular spot in the painting, and a bird stops right on the branch, the particular that I'm painting. It's like, paint me. It's sitting there, paint me. There it is. Just pop it in. Yeah. So when I got to this stage of the painting, I really had to think about what I wanted to keep down in the foreground, or the bottom half of this painting. And there was some interesting things in front of me, but in a painting probably difficult to describe unless I was really, really detailed with them. And I didn't want to be overly detailed. I wanted it very painterly and suggestive. So I had a real good look at it, and I picked out the things that stood out the most and decided to put those shapes in and then see what would happen. And then from that I built up from there. I had to be very careful with bringing the cool colours down. I'm starting to bring some cool colours into the shadows here, which worked in this little section. But when I brought a cool down in another section, I had to take it back out. But so I'm kind of looking what's there, what mimics what's there and describes what's there through colour. But if anything was jarring, I just went in with a different approach. So it was really lovely, the amount of colours you can see once you've been staring at a subject for long enough. The longer you look, the more you see. And so you can pull those pastels out and really add the purples that start to show themselves to, all the warmer reds, and play with them, and then sit back. And then there's a point in the painting where you've got to go, okay, I've got enough of the shapes that I wanted, and the shadows, or the dramatic darks in there, or the lights. I'm aware of where I want to put my lights, but now I need to look at the painting as a painting and the design of the painting, and start to really allow the colour and the actual painting reveal itself to you, and then like intuitively go with that. That's the fun part. But it's also the part where you can make a mess, or you can really, the painting reveals itself to you in a way that surprises you. And you go, well, I had not imagined that would come out. It's just, it reveals itself like its own little individual personality. And it's always exciting to see that stage starting to come out at a painting. Unpredictable and wonderful. Do you put them back in the tray? Yeah, I always leave them out in the tray. I don't put them back, and I keep them out in the tray until I finish the painting too. I won't let myself put it back in the box so I can find them.
In the studio, I actually make a special box for each painting.
Yeah.
So that I can find what I'm looking for easily, and I can go back to them. But sometimes when I get a little bit mixed up in these sorts of things,
Because do you borrow from the boxes?
I'm just sort of moving around in my, trying to move so quickly that in my thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm slowing down now and really deciding on what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of. The light is starting to move. You can see it kind of creeping onto the corner of my board there. The light had started to shift. So I had to be careful not to lose where the lights were and the darks were. And as it happens, having a very, very bright day, even with the shadow across it so that I don't have it too bright, that shadow was a little bit too dull, I think. And so when I was interpreting what I was painting, it appeared to be a lot brighter and colourful than what I was actually painting. So I will have to rectify that in the studio. But this is a close look at the details at this stage. And I'm just going in there, not getting too bitsy, but choosing the places where I want the mark making and the places that I want subtle. So I think I counted about 21 colours I used. I might add some more when I finish it off, but that is it. See how the shadow is there? A bit tricky to film too, but I think it gives you a pretty good idea. There's some of my painting friends. We're just gearing up to pack up and go for lunch, and some of the other works that were done there. The ladies were kindly let me have a little sneak peek for you so that you can see. And that's Julie looking at Jenny's work there. Jenny always wears this amazing red hat, which ends up in the paintings. I spotted her walking past and I quickly put her in some of my paintings. And that's Pam and Kerry. Kerry got showered in leaves, in autumn leaves, as she was painting the shed. And that's a little spot I was going to paint, but I painted. You just have to persist, I think. So we have just fast forward 2 days and I'm back in the studio. I have actually sprayed this with fixative and let it dry, and I was pretty heavy handed with the fixative because I wanted just to refresh the canvas itself, and I knew how much work I was going to do to it, so I wanted to give myself plenty of tooth. And so I've sprayed it. That's okay to knock it back, and then I will come in over top of that. What else I have done is I took a photo before I sprayed it. I brought it into my iPad here. So I've got an image of it before it dulled back with the spray, and I have also played with one in and adjusted the hues, the saturation and lights and darks, and just played with it a bit to get it to kind of where I was imagining, and closer to not the subject so much, but the subject as it would be in that autumn time. So I've played with it a little bit. So I've got that as a reference. I've also got the references from the day, so a couple of photos from the day, and I've pulled them all into my iPad so that I can flick back and forth and have those to work on and just pull from it what I need to finish the painting. I'm not going to be literal with it, but it's just going to give me a sounding board and inspiration to work from to finish this. What I have to be mindful of is not to overwork it, to keep the freshness of the plein air experience in it, But I know on the day I got to the stage where I really felt that I needed to stop. I knew the painting wasn't finished, but I needed to stop and I needed to have a break from it. And I think that was because of everything that happened. You know, earlier on I was quite frustrated, I lost time, and when I was painting I was probably not in the mood that I would normally be in trying to get it done. I was like conscious of the time, and I didn't race, but I was, you know, it can affect you as you're painting. So I feel I painted well enough, but to be literal or objective, I needed to have a break from it. So that's what I've done, had a break from it, and I'm coming back in with enthusiasm to finish it off, and I'll take you with me. So this is the piece now after it's sprayed. Over here is the picture of before it was sprayed, and this is after I've played with it a bit. See, it's a bit more vibrant, and the colours particularly brought out up here. And this is the reference photo. You can see they're quite different in colour there. That's very yellow, that's very orange. Two reference photos, and the reference photo from the one I was intending to do for the colours. So I've got those to work with. So I'll probably put this up initially. Yes, I might put this up initially, put some colour in there, and then start using this for the shapes and the drawing, and see if we can finish it off. So because I kept them aside, I've got the colours ready to go. Halfway. I just want to show you in the photo and on site, this was a very bright fallen over dying tree, I think, and so I wanted that in the foreground, and that was just as bright pretty much as what was in here in the light behind here, but I don't want to pull away the light behind here, so I'm going to keep that lower in key and bring this up. And so that's what I'm going to do now and start to lift this tree out. Back and forth between the photos, I'm concentrating less on the photos and more what does the painting need, and I think the sky needs to come out. Now it's time to come in with the sky, and when I've got some of this against the tree, I'll be able to go back in and do enough, hopefully enough and not too much detail. It's just on the top here, I just see this light. The horizon sometimes is top of those mountains is lighter. And I noticed this blue was quite striking. So I'll just break it up a bit. I just need to lighten it, bring it back in. I like the blue up in here, but there was a green, like a green blue against the yellow that I want to put back in there. It was part of the peel of the green against the orange. That looked really lovely. And I'm also looking for what I can take out now as I'm coming back. I had the branches out here, but I'm thinking I'll keep a thickness here and a thin over there. There was a tree in the background that I think needs a bit of explaining. You can't actually see it in the photographs, but I know it was quite dominating on site, and you can't even see it at all in the photographs, but I'll put it back in if I can. This is where stage photos can come in too, because I've taken a photo before I lose too much that I've put in. I can go back and go, oh, that's right, I remember just popping the trunk in about there, and where maybe a couple of the dominating branches were. I don't make that too warm. And then they kind of blended. On site, they kind of blended in together here. It's this dance of colour. And the cooler greens. So I've spent over 2 hours on it, and I've come to the point where I've signed it. I'm not actually sure how I feel about it yet, but I've signed it and I'm going to leave it at that, and again have another break, and I may or may not do any more to it, but at this stage I'm just going to leave it, and if I may not even do any more, and I might use it as a study to do something else. So yeah, I think with this one I would have been better off to go back out there and on site again, but it's just pouring rain now. Our weather's kind of in and out, so it's a bit tricky for me to get back there, so I had to work from reference. But anyhow, it is brighter, more vibrant, and it's got more varieties of pastel application than before, and yeah, I'll have a look at it, but let me know what you think. Let's put this in the bag so I don't do that again.